Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Three Peas in a Podcast, where we are three sisters and we just come on every Thursday between 7 and 8 p.m. and we discuss, we have conversations that we have just as we're having them on the phone. We are three sisters. We Three Peas in a Podcast. We share the same mom and dad, and we're just chatting up with you all. We're inviting you all to join the conversation. I am Three Peas in a Podcast, aka Veronica, one third of the Peas in the Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our show. I am Bo, and I am twin to Veronica, um, and I am one third of Three Peas in a Pod.
I am EM, and I am the oldest of the peas in the pod. Thank you for joining us this evening, and we hope you engage with this conversation.
Okay, and I sound like I'm echoing again. I
No,
don't
you're
know why.
fine. You're fine.
Oh, I hear
There's a
something.
little feedback, but it's not echo.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Okay, so my conversation today is my topic. I called it what did I call it? Oh, okay, Justice Clarence Thomas, respectability or all gloves off. Now, I asked this question because I watched a video that was dedicated to JCT. That's what I'll call him here on out. Um, and I giggled. I'll be very honest. I giggled in the beginning, but then it made me feel a little funny. And we'll watch the video, and then I'll tell you all why it made me feel a little funny, and why I thought, well, maybe I shouldn't be laughing at this. So let's go ahead and watch the video. It's just a little 30-minute video. Um, for entertainment purposes only. We want to go ahead and say that, but let's go ahead and watch the video.
Hey, hey, I got a question cause I really need to know. Do you ever get tired of being a bitch ass nigga? Ass nigga. A pussy ass nigga.
Okay. Now that's all I'm gonna play of it.
Yeah,
It's not
that's
that
a lot.
long.
Yeah.
It is not that long, but you all get the gist. That's an
Mm-hmm.
AI song that's floating around on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
So that was dedicated to JCT. And again, I giggled. I'm being honest. I giggled. But again, my emotions were conflicted when I watched that video. And I'll let you all know why. Because when I see images of, let's say, Dr. MLK, the Obamas that are disparaging, it upsets me. It upsets me. And so I started thinking, well, I know, Clarence Thomas is not one of our favorite people. Well, to some people he may be. But should we hold the same reverence that we hold for the Obamas or the King family as we do for JCT? That's my question. And I'll share you all with this. For a long time, the singer Rihanna on her Twitter account, she had a doctored up picture of Dr. King with a gold grill in his mouth. And every time I saw it, it upset me. And for a long time, I did not care for Rihanna just because of that. I'm like, that's not who he is. It kind of that wasn't who he was.
Right.
And then a few years ago, if you all recall, Cardi B came under fire because she did that little disparaging skit about Coretta Scott King, where she played Coretta Scott King. I forget the name of this so-called comedian who put this skit out, but it was called The Real Housewives of Civil Rights Movement. And she was just acting all kinds of crazy, trying to portray Coretta Scott King. Now, she did come out and apologize for that. And then let's not forget, just a few months here, the infamous portrait or AI picture that was released by the White House of the Obamas in an image of an ape. I get upset when I see those things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you all, and just to give some background about Justice Clarence Thomas, which I'm sure you already know, but just for the conversation purposes, we know that he remains one of the most controversial figures in modern American politics and law as the successor of Justice Thurgood Marshall, who is also one of my favorite civil rights icons. And you all know he was the first African American justice, Supreme Court justice,
Mm-hmm.
and Clarence replaced him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, As the successor of Justice Thurgood Marshall, the first African-American Supreme Court justice and a civil rights icon, many expected Thomas to continue advocating for issues impacting Black Americans. Instead, critics argue that I'm getting feedback, I'm sorry. Many of his rulings and political positions have often gone against policies viewed as beneficial to the Black community, including affirmative action, which he benefited from, voting rights protection, and diversity initiatives. In my discussion, I want to explore whether public criticism of Justice Thomas should remain respectful and measured because of his position and accomplishments, or whether all gloves are off due to the real-world impact of his decisions. We also recall in 1991 the whole thing with him and Anita Hill. A lot of people bring that up, when they share these different videos with him. But again, my question, this conversation is not to attack JCT, but it does ask the question: is he old? Do I want to say old or
deserve the same reference?
Does he deserve that same reverence that we give to like the Kings, Malcolm X, the Obamas? Is he owed that? That's my question to you all, and also to the audience when you all watch it. Hop down in the comments and let me know, what are your thoughts? Do we keep it respectful with him, or are all gloves off with him?
I mean, when I think of Clarence Thomas, I think immediately of the incidents with Anita Thomas. So it's like you kind of have a view of him in a different type of light. He doesn't come across in the same light as the Obamas or as Martin Luther King. Nobody's perfect. We all have fallen short, but he just hasn't. He just doesn't have that image of a civil rights leader, or someone who is a public figure who is for the African American people. So when I hear his name, there are so many other things that I think of about him that I've heard as well that are just not in a good light. So I don't put him in that same category as Thurgood Marshall or Barack Obama or Martin Luther King or any of the other great civil rights leaders who you've named. I don't see him as that, and I'm not saying how I feel is gospel, but from the time that I've been on this earth that his name has come up, it hasn't been for something that he's done to help the people move forward. And that's just
and in my opinion, he seems kind of like how they describe, like the crab in the bucket, or so, how that goes.
But I think you're talking about different positions here and different things. I don't feel like he is a civil rights leader. There's a difference. He's a justice. So when I think about him, I don't put him in that category because I've never seen him as a civil rights leader.
Well, no, so we're not saying he's a civil rights leader. We're not saying.
Right. I know he has a position, and we expect him to follow suit and fight for the cause like the others. But I don't believe that was ever his intention from the beginning. So I guess for me, I look at it a little bit different because I've never viewed him as a civil rights leader.
I've never viewed him as a civil rights leader.
Yeah,
but
I don't
the
think
question is, do we because he does hold a very important, he is a Supreme Court justice. He is the second African American Supreme Court justice. There's only been 3. He's the second. There's only 3. We have 2 of them now. And he's one of them. He was the second after Thurgood Marshall. So that's an accomplishment in and of itself.
Right. And I think that you have to, there is a certain respect that you have for certain authority. So I may not like everything my boss does, but she's my boss.
Right.
So I'm going to respect her position. It's just like, I know that a lot of people, can't stand Trump, but I'm not one to spread a whole bunch of hate or a whole bunch of stuff and say a whole bunch of negative stuff about him because I respect the position that he's in. So when it comes to people in certain roles and positions, there's a level of respect that I believe that they have. They should, if they come in your path, they should respect you. But when there's a certain position, you respect the position. So may not agree with everything he does, but the Bible tells us to pray for our leaders. You pray for those. So no matter how much you don't like what they're doing, our job is continually lift them up in prayer and trust God that the heart of the king is in his hands and he'll turn it whichever way he feels. So for me, I'm going to respect the position, and I'm going to, I may not like what he does. I don't see him as a civil rights leader. He's a justice and he has his own opinions, and he does things I don't agree with, but that's my opinion on it.
And that's kind of where I left. And again, I looked at that video and being very honest, I chuckled. I chuckled at it. And I said, well, I almost shared it, but then I said no. I said no, I can chuckle and move on, but it's not anything that I personally need to be sharing. And I left it at that.
Right.
So that's it for me on this topic. Like EM said, respect the position. I guess, and I'll leave it at that. I will cackle and giggle at some things that come across about him. I'm not gonna lie. I will continue to do that. I won't be sharing it though. Okay. Bo?
I thought it was funny, when I first seen it come on, I chuckled, I thought, it was funny at first when I first seen it. I didn't, read into it too much because of the things that follow that name. It was funny immediately after seeing it because of the other things that have been, said. And, I wasn't the one who said it. You know what I'm saying? Like
right,
they
I
say,
didn't make
don't
it.
shoot the messenger. But, there are things that have been said that are, just things that are just not things that you would hold to high regard or as a respectful person, regardless of the position that's being held, I thought it was funny when you first played. I hadn't seen it, so I was kind of laughing under my breath when I heard it.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's it for that. We will go ahead and move on to Bo.
Okay. So my topic today was stores and establishments that are no longer using pennies. So there are people who are saying they don't use pennies anymore. And I went to the store a few times with cash, and my change back was pennies, like maybe 4 cents or 3 cents here, and they just didn't give me anything. And I just was kind of like, okay, didn't think much of it. It's just a few pennies. But then when you really think about it, if they're doing this to hundreds of people, it's like they're making a killing off of these so-called no more pennies. And so I ran into an incident today that really made me think about this, and is what brought this topic to the forefront for me. I went to Smoothie King today and I got me a smoothie. The total of my bill came to $8.69. And she said, we don't do pennies anymore. So I'm thinking, she said, so we just rounded off. So I had 2 quarters and a dime plus the $8 that I owed her. And then I said, so if I give her 60 cents instead of 59 cents, I'm giving her more money. And something didn't sit right with me to give her my dime, and I didn't owe her that. So I said, okay, well, I'll give you $8.55. She said, okay, so I'll put that in. And then when she put it in and she came back and she gave me my money, she said, yeah, I just rung it up for $8.55. So I said, going forward, that's what I will do. If they tell me it's such and such and 59 cents, instead of me giving them my extra money, a company who's already rich, who's already making plenty of money, I'm going to make this thing work for me. Now, if they tell me to round it off, then I'm going to round it off in my favor. Instead of me giving them, then they can give it to me. If they feel like we don't do pennies anymore, well, you said I owe you 69 cents. you are the one who wants the 4 pennies. So I just felt like, for the rest of us, when going forward, am I being petty for doing that? Or, should we be looking out for our own bottom dollar or bottom penny? Or should we just continue to make these companies richer and let them take our 3 cent here, our 4 cent here, 2 cent here? That's money that's going in their bank and it's making them richer.
I don't think you're being petty, but and I think this was a good conversation to have when you sent your topic over to me. But and I did look into it some more because I do know that they stopped production of the penny, and it was just last year when they did it. So the U.S. Mint did cease production of the 1 cent coin on November 12th, 2025, ending a 232-year run due to high production costs. Roughly 3.69 cents per penny. While no new pennies are being produced for circulation, they remain legal tender. With billions staying in use, businesses are likely to start rounding cash transactions to the nearest 5.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. It's going to have to align. They're going to have to say, $3.55 or $2.60. It's going to have to align. If there are no more pennies, then you can't tell me something costs pennies. Because if you do, then you're making more money off of me when you're just rounding it off. And
what they're really doing is trying to push us. They'll start with the penny, but they're pushing us more and more to cashless.
Yep.
That's what they're doing. Because I don't know if you remember, before he got rid of the penny, did you all remember seeing signs where stores said we don't have any change?
Yep.
That started before this happened with the penny. So really they are trying to get us to a cashless state. So this penny thing seems small, but it really is big. Because it's pushing us so that, they don't want cash to be king. You ever heard the term cash is king? They don't want cash to be king anymore. So they're pushing us to a cashless. They want us everything electronic. Now, what I noticed around here where I'm at right now, they are doing the 5 cent thing. So if your total is let's say 856, they will take 855. But if your total is 859, they're going to round it to 860.
And then they make extra money off of it.
Right. But what they're saying is it'll balance out because they're going to be oftentimes giving away 5 cents.
Right. It'll balance off for them.
That's what they're saying, that it'll eventually balance off for them. But if you look at the big scheme of things, it's all putting things in motion to go cashless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
It made me feel like I'm going to start keeping cash on me so that they can't just debit me and I not know or not pay attention to what they've taken from me. So
when they debit you, they will debit you $8.59. It's just when you use cash, that's when that 1 cent is coming into play.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess that makes sense. But yeah, like I said, I mean, the only reason I was using cash is because I lost my debit card and I was having trouble zailing money to my other account. So I said, let me just take some cash out the bank because for some reason, the bank that I go to, I went to to one of them and they said, well, the cards are only being printed at 2 banks now, which is something that's new to me as well because I've always been able to get a card printed at any bank. So I didn't want to go all the way to the other bank. So I just said, let me just take cash out. And like I said, it made me feel like I want to use cash more because of how I was able to work things in my own favor. Yeah, so I just feel like, people who are out there using cash, instead of giving these people your money who are already, making money, round it off and make it work in your favor, not the companies who are already big, because they're gonna continue to make money. But that's all I wanted to say about that.
That was a good topic. Thank you, Bo.
You're welcome.
So now we are on to EM.
Okay, so my topic is why people worship celebrity lifestyles. So this picture of Rihanna kind of went viral today, claiming that she was pregnant again, and this time with twins. And people just took off with it. They reposted it. They were happy, celebrating it, congratulating her, just, just, just happy about it, but spreading false information. So my topic tonight is to talk about, why are people so taken with celebrities? I mean, in my day, yeah, I love Michael Jackson. That was my celebrity when I was, when I was young. You know, that was it for me. I was a Michael Jackson fan. Our youngest brother's name is Michael because when mom and them asked me, I said Michael because I love Michael Jackson. So but I don't remember being as emotionally invested as people are today. People will defend and take up for and come after you for celebrities that they don't even know, and they won't even take up for their relative, a person they know that they've been involved with. But they're very quick, like you have the Beehive. I guess that's what they call it. I'm not a Beyonce fan, never have. I probably can't even name one of her songs. But you have these people who are so loyal, so dedicated, and this culture that we live in now where people are just so invested in celebrities. Is it because we have social media and we have access to so much information now and people consume so much online? It's almost like they're living a fantasy through other people. And while they're living that fantasy through other people, they're missing out on their own lives, moments that they should be having with their own family in their own life. They're living through other people's dreams. Because what we see for celebrities is curated. We see what they want us to see. You don't see the everyday life of Rihanna having 3 kids under 5.
Right.
You don't see that. And I'm sure she has help and all that stuff, but she's still a mother. So you don't see all of that. You don't see the fact that she may want to go to the grocery store and shop for her family, but it's just not that easy for her. So you don't see the real story. But why are people so invested? I mean, it's just like it's fanatic. Being a fanatic is one thing, but it's like these people are almost trying to live their lives through what they see online, which is not true most of the time. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said they're living some type of fantasy through these celebrities. And I think sometimes people just love a good love story. And they, like you said, we don't see what's going on behind the scenes, but we can only see what they put forward to us. And a lot of people see a beautiful love story. People are just in love with what they think is a love story. But
Right.
it's funny because this rumor that was started, she did shut it down. Oh gosh, I hear that feedback. She did shut it down, and she went up under one post and said, "Well, is the baby in the room with us?" So she did shut this pregnancy down. And now under another post that I saw, there's a lot of people were calling the people who posted it out for circulating this false story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I don't know, like I firmly believe that people are to a degree living a fantasies through some of these celebrities, and again, people just love of what they perceive as a love story. They, that's what I think.
But why do you think people believe everything? Why are people so quick to grab onto something and believe?
I don't even know if those people who hop up on, because some people were up under this. Oh, congratulations! I think some people are just what is it? Willfully ignorant. You don't go and research anything on their own. Some people just commenting to be commenting.
Right.
I think it's a variety of things.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people, like EM said, that they're living a fantasy through them. In another way, I don't see it as living a fantasy through them, but I feel like when they see something that celebrities have actually had a downfall, or something has happened to them that is happening to everyday normal people, or has happened to them, that makes them more relatable, and so they don't feel as bad because hey, I got 10 kids, just stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's what a lot of it has to do with when they see, they say, well, this has happened to this person. Then they're like,
Mm-hmm.
well, that's happened to me. So I don't feel so bad. So it makes
Mm-hmm.
them more relatable, and it makes people not feel so bad for some of the things that they're doing or going through that they really probably shouldn't be doing or going through.
But
Mm-hmm.
I also believe that when people want something to be true, they rarely question it.
Mm-hmm.
And they rarely do any fact finding. Like the first thing I noticed was Veronica did digging to see if this is true and posted out there. It's not true, but people still were like, congratulations.
Right.
Happy for her. They just ignored the fact that this is fake news, but they were just so excited,
Quick to
for
yeah.
her.
Sometimes people
So,
just want to be seen.
And also under some of these some of these pages, for engagement, they have like ghost followers, where they
right.
just go
Yeah.
under and comment,
They want you to
and that
comment.
might be a lot of people, just
People
congratulating.
are
But I think
paid
it's a
to.
host of things,
Yeah.
Right.
and people willingly and knowingly put fake stories out there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's
It's
all about the
crazy to
dollars,
me.
clicks and likes, and create
Yeah,
conversation and get
Right.
paid off of that.
That's
yeah.
true.
So unfortunately, I think the behavior of people on social media, the way that they're able to make money, it also drives people to put out fake stuff
Mm-hmm.
without verifying. And I think at some point that social media is going to be probably monitored, and things are going to be pulled much more than they are now. We already in America, we only see certain stuff. We don't see everything. There's so much going on in the world we don't see, but what they do over here is they censor it so that we don't see everything. So it's a lot going on that we don't see. So that's why it's good sometimes to look outside at news and different things in other countries so that you see what's going on around the world. But another thing came out this week. It wasn't a fake news, but it was Beyonce's picture from the Met Gala. And in that picture, it was a very natural picture. It was not a lot of it wasn't a lot of they didn't clean it up per se.
Mm-hmm.
So you could see like the little marks on her neck, the little moles, which is similar to what her mother has. Of course, she is aging. She's 40 plus years old now, and she should. Either you get old or you get dead. That's the choice. So all the Beyonce worshipers who are complaining about how she looked, okay, she cannot stay 20 years old forever. She is going to age just like all of us. But I saw a lot of the comments under there, and people were so critical of the way she looked. And it's like people were actually saying things like, why hasn't she taken care of that? Why has so you want her to go under the knife? What do you want her to do?
Yeah, they were saying stuff like, "Oh, she's morphing into her mother," and I did see a lot of
She
comments.
does look more like her mother, and
Yes,
I've
she
seen
does.
I can look at most of my classmates that are females, and guess what they turned into? Their mama.
Right.
That's,
And
what
if you see younger pictures of Tina Knowles, I saw one picture in her younger days. I thought it was Beyonce. She was actually laying in the bed after she had Beyonce. I thought it was Beyonce.
right.
So she looks like her mom. And a lot of people were defending it, saying, "Okay, people age. We
Right.
all getting older." But
But that's what I'm saying. It's
yeah,
unrealistic.
right.
It makes you have unrealistic
Yep.
expectations.
Yep.
It's not real.
Now Beyonce went on her page and put some. I'm gonna be real. You all know I like me some Beyonce, but she went on her page and put some doctored up photos on her page. I was like, you weren't looking like this at all. But she is looking more like her mother. She is aging. So I don't know. I'm with you. I don't know what people expect. The
Right.
expectations are unreal with all of this filtering and the I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm like, oh, sometimes I feel like when people put these AI images of themselves up and
Mhm.
very doctored up photos, I feel like they almost believe
Right.
That
That's
is, that is them. Like, and we may have discussed this. There are some funny videos of some younger folks on TikToks, and they was like, Lord help me. They was like, my mom is posting AI pictures of herself, and she is actually up under there thanking people.
right.
People get up under there and say, oh, and I blame, people getting up under there saying, oh, beautiful and stuff too. That photo is not a real photo. And then they said their mothers up there said, oh, thank you. Like, it was like, Mama, that's not you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's
it's
funny.
her likeness.
But
Yeah.
I feel when you made the graphic for this, and I told you I have never uploaded my likeness into AI, and I did not want it loaded because what you're also giving away is some of your biometrics, and I don't think people realize that. So I personally never wanted my likeness to be in AI, but then I've noticed that Meta has taken upon itself to create AI stuff and put it in my feed that only I can see and say, hey, why don't you use this? And I don't like that. I don't like that either because I don't want AI used to create any images of me. So, but I feel like people are getting lost and they're getting lost in what really is rich and what really is wealthy. Having $1 billion, a person can have that type of money and be sitting at home and be miserable. You can have $1 billion and be sitting at home full of cancer, getting ready to die. Meanwhile, people walk around here with full of health and life, and they're depressed and they're sad and they lose their identity looking at these people when they could have their own wealth, which is right there within their reach, their family. What their goals are, what their purpose is in life. So unfortunately, people are losing out on personal wealth that they have within themselves because they're so busy pursuing celebrities and what they're doing instead of taking value in your own purpose, your own life, your own wealth, which wealth has nothing. I mean, I won't say nothing, but being rich and wealthy has more to do with your life and the value of your life and the things that you're doing. You're adding to your community, adding to
your legacy. Yeah.
Yeah, than having a whole bunch of money that you'll never even spend in a lifetime. I feel like I said this to my husband before. I don't know a whole lot of Christians that are billionaires or even hundreds of millions, and maybe that's just me. I don't know a ton, but I feel like if I was in that position where I had billions, I wouldn't have billions because I'd be giving it back. But what God does is when you steady give, He steady gives it back to you.
Right.
But it would be hard for me to be a billionaire because there's there's so much going on in the world that needs help.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I was in that position, I would have enough money for my family to live comfortably, but most of it would be going out to other places. I don't feel like a person should have that money. It should just be for you. If you're blessed to have that type of money, it's for way far more than you.
Yeah.
So that's why.
So much homelessness and all this kind of stuff. Like you see people on the streets, and I know there are some celebrities that do give a lot. I know they say that Shaq helps a lot of people out. He does a lot for people. So there are a lot of celebrities that are really giving and are out there, really doing things for people. They say a lot of them just don't put it in the forefront. They don't make it known that they do it. But I believe that there are a lot of them who do. At the same time, I know all of them are not, but I've heard that Shaq is one who does a lot.
Well, it's just like Jeff, is it Bezos, his wife?
Yeah.
But and she's a prime example of you give and the money comes back because she has given away millions, millions and millions and millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. And even during COVID, she went and she told her staff, find places that need money. So Black colleges, women's shelters, different things. She gave money. Those people, she didn't ask for them to report back. She didn't ask for no proof. She just gave. But if you look at her, it just steady comes back because she's steady giving. But I just, like I said, if I just feel like if a believer is blessed with that, it's for them to bless other people. It really is for everyone. But it's a law that just operates in the earth. If you give, you receive. But
I mean,
like I
I
said,
give now, so I mean, I don't have a lot to give, but what I have, I do give. I do for others. So,
yeah.
I do plan on being a millionaire soon. So,
Mm-hmm.
and I will continue to give.
Well, I just, like I said, I want people to, just monitor, even, maybe take a step away from social media, step away from all your favorite celebrities, and then just take a look at yourself and what your goals are and see how your life is valuing. What value are you adding while you're here? Because the time goes by really fast. Before you know it, you might be 15, then you're 25, then you're 35, then you're 45. Then next thing you're 55. So just take some time, look at yourself and make sure that you're adding the value you should be adding while you're here and not living through somebody else's life and what's happening for them. And that's
That's a good message.
Yeah.
Well, was there anything else anyone wanted to add? We are at 40 minutes. We did good tonight. These are all great topics.
Yes, I'm glad that we were, able to speak on some things that are current and, things that always speaking on things that help the family and, just better lives for others. I hope that everyone takes something away from it that's valuable that they can use, put to use in their own lives.
EM?
No, I said what I had to do. Like Monica said, Bo said, everyone, hopefully they'll take something away and get some personal wins for themselves this week and recognize that they are valuable and they are here for a reason and a purpose.
Well, if you all are catching the replay, we hope that you all jump down in the comments and engage. We'd love to hear your thoughts. As always, we are 3 Ps in a podcast. Until next time, bye.
3 Ps and a pods. Good night, y'all.
Good night.
Good night.